the other atheists are like trying to argue with him about the empirical stuff. I'm not going to argue about the empirical stuff. I'll just grant that Jesus said that the world would adopt the 7-day cycle. I guess he didn't really exactly explain. So I guess the audience, do you want to quickly explain exactly what the 7-day cycle thing is? It's like what everybody adopts a 7-day calendar.
I could do that during our exchange. So if you're done, we can have the conversation right now. I'm going to address your points first, and then we can go to the 70, because the 7-day cycle, as soon as I establish it, is game over. And it's already established.
Well, so let's start. Well, we can just do that because we might not even have time to get to my stuff. So
no, I'd rather go to your stuff because I want to show how weak your objections are. And then because as soon as I do the 7-day cycle, it's game over. It's like you're going to do what everybody else did, is panic and say a whole bunch of things that's ridiculous. Or you're going to humble yourself and say,
I'm not going to argue about the empirical stuff with you. I'll just grant that it's true that the entire world.
But if you grant it, then it's game over. Whether you grant it or not, it's reality.
I don't care if Jesus predicted the 7-day cycle. That doesn't mean that he's God.
No, he predicted its universal adherence as evidence. He says, this is the evidence I am sovereign over you. And the fact that you're sovereign, that you're submitted to his will, shows you that he has power over you and shows that he is God by extension. But I'd rather go to your...
Sir, please. If I claim I'm queen, the supernatural queen of the universe,
yes,
and people write that down in a book, and I make the prediction that one day the entire world, to express my sovereignty, will abolish the use of money, and then one day we see the whole world no longer using money, does that mean I'm the supernatural queen of the universe, you moron?
I would accept it. Yes, I would.
Oh, you're an idiot.
No, basically what you're saying is you have universal power over the world. If you were able to demonstrate that power as Jesus did, then I would have to accept your authority. You don't have that power, and your example is totally ridiculous because that's never going to happen. We're waiting for this claim of yours to happen. My claim has already been fulfilled. That's the difference. Look, this is exclusive.
Just because if somebody makes a true prediction about the future, it doesn't follow that they're
no, that's not my argument. Again, you're avoiding the argument. The argument is predicated on its universality.
Put it into
universal.
Can you give me the first premise so we can examine it?
God, I don't need to do a premise. I did it with Tjump. You saw it. So here's
that's funny because the argument that when he tried to steel man you, he gave you a syllogism that was affirming the consequent.
How so?
Let me try to remember. He said that
Forget about it. Adoption of the 7-day cycle as a sign of his authority over all nations. And premise 4, if all nations keep a 7-day cycle. Conclusion, Jesus is sovereign, and by extension, he is God. So that is my syllogism.
I think it could be better. So like,
probably.
I think the way you should put it is probably saying, if Jesus is God, his commandments will be fulfilled. Jesus made a commandment that there will be a 7-day cycle. The world has adopted the 7-day cycle. Therefore, Jesus is God. Something like that.
I like it. Thank you very much, man. Thanks for the help.
Yeah. So what is your 7-day cycle argument? What is it about the 7-day cycle? So the first premise was, I don't want to go into like the specifics of I got your point. So the argument itself doesn't make a difference. But what do you think about the 7-day cycle? Why is it evidence of God?
Basically, he's author. He makes exclusive claims to the 7-day week. I don't need to do a premise. I did it with Tjump. You saw it. So
that's funny because the argument that when he tried to steel man you, he gave you a syllogism that was affirming the consequent.
How so?
Let me try to remember. He said that
Forget about it. Here's the thing. If you're gonna address, I'm gonna go back to your last example, which is totally not synonymous to what I provided, analogous. You suggested that if you were a queen and you predicted that the money would be abolished as a sign of your authority, I say I would accept that as evidence. Your claim has not been substantiated yet. My claim has. It's universal, a universal prediction, and he says that is the sign of his authority. Replacing every cultural and social constructs. So that's the reason why he's God.
Look, I agree. It would be some kind of very weak evidence that I'm queen of the universe.
No, right? Great evidence.
You're trying to claim it's proof. It proves that I'm queen of the universe. Look, I'm making the prediction, right? I'm claiming that, right? I'm claiming right now I'm queen of the universe, supernatural queen of the universe. And one day, like capitalism is going to collapse, and there's Communism is going to take over the world, and there's going to be the abolishment of money. Does that might be some kind of very extremely weak evidence that what I'm saying is true? I guess you could say that. I don't know though. It doesn't, because it doesn't follow. It doesn't follow from me making this true prediction that I'm not a liar. But it might be some kind of weak evidence. But it's not. Given your other background beliefs, it's not going to be enough to accept the claim. And you're not merely saying
what background beliefs.
It's weak evidence. You're saying that it's proof.
It is proof. It is proof. Let me restipulate my position. Let me restipulate my position.
So it's impossible that I'm not queen of the universe if money is abolished one day?
No. This is not what the argument you're making. You're saying that you would predict. First of all, you have to define what you mean by queen. Because I define what God is the one who's sovereign over all creation. And since he proved that he's sovereign.
I'm sovereign over all creation.
Okay, so you're sovereign over all creation, and if you exercise your will over all creation, and that is substantiated, then I see no reason why I would go against that, especially in the fact that this is something exclusive. Nobody else has done this throughout history.
My will over the world, like just because
you will remove all monetary systems in the world and replace it with communism. So that is you exercising your will.
Mean it's me doing it. If that happens one day, that doesn't mean that I'm the cause. Just because I'm making the prediction and I'm saying that I'm going to cause it doesn't mean that I'm going to be the actual cause.
So you're gonna predict something that is universal and exclusive to you, and you're saying you're not the cause of it.
Yeah, if I'm claiming right now one day money is going to be abolished and I'm going to cause that. And then we see money abolished one day. Do you believe that I'm the cause? Obviously not.
If this is a recurrent theme throughout Scripture, like he will submit all nations to a 7-day cycle, going against every cultural and social constructs in the world. So it's not only that he's predicting something; it's going against their cultural and religious practices.
Yeah, I don't see the abolishment of money.
Huh?
The abolishment of money would be going against cultural.
Okay, so I would accept that. So if you predicted it, and it was fulfilled, why would I not accept that?
Because I'm claiming that right now, and I could
if you predicted it, and it was fulfilled, and you said it was a sign of your authority over all nations, why in the world would I not accept that it came from you? You have to explain to me why that would not logically follow that. Okay, you claimed it. It's exclusive to you. It goes against every social norms, and it was fulfilled. Why would I not accept it came from you? It came where? From what? What's the alternative?
Because
I don't get it.
We know that people.
There's only two options: either God or human influence or whatever. Yeah. So human. It's either God or humans, and you cannot substantiate they came from humans. Because it goes against every religious and social construct.
Why would we think that it didn't just because somebody predicted it would happen?
I'm sorry?
Why would we think that it didn't just because somebody predicted that it would happen?
Because again, it's exclusive to the person that was making the claim. That's why.
Yeah, just like
nobody else is making the claim.
Look, so when money is abolished one day, then people should believe that I caused that.
First of all, the abolishment of money is not an exclusive claim to you. A lot of people claim they want to abolish money. And it depends what you mean by money, because is Bitcoin money for you? Because let's say the world is the system is changed by some type of electronic digital monetary system,
including Bitcoin.
I'm sorry?
Everything's abolished, including Bitcoin, and I'm going to be the supernatural queen of the universe.
If you can do that, I'm going to cause that. Okay, number one, it's not analogous because my prophecy has been fulfilled. Yours is a claim that's never going to be fulfilled. Number one. Number two,
hypothetical.
Yeah, and if hypothetically you were able to do that and you predicted it was the sign of your authority over all nations, I would accept it. I don't see why I wouldn't. Why would it? If you don't accept that as evidence, you don't accept anything as evidence.
Look, tons of people make claims about the future, and other religions make prophecies about the future that come true also. So why,
never happened. If you claim that, give me one example of universal prediction that was fulfilled. You can't find it. The day you could do that is the day I become an atheist. Because my argument is predicated on it being exclusive.
Bill Gates predicted that the world would be hit with the entire world would be affected by a deadly virus. Are you telling me that if at the time he said that, he said, I'm going to be the king of the universe cause over that, and I'm going to be sovereign over all nations?
What are you talking about?
We would have to believe Bill Gates.
Bill Gates said what? Bill Gates said there would be a virus?
Yeah, it was. it's like one of the most popular videos on YouTube. He predicted it on
What virus? What virus?
He didn't give the name of the virus, but
No,
he
but what do you mean by virus? You talking about a medical condition?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, he
So
said
he
back
predicted a virus. Everybody can predict a virus. Viruses have been predicted for a long time ago. It's expected.
Nobody made that prediction except Bill Gates that the entire world would be affected by this deadly virus, right?
I wasn't affected by it. I wasn't affected by it. I wasn't affected by it. A whole bunch of people
you were. You might have not gotten the coronavirus. But
I was affected by it.
You weren't affected by it at all. You're affected by it right now by me talking about it to you, moron. Every time somebody talks to you about the coronavirus, you were affected by it. It affected your life because you had that conversation if it didn't exist.
It didn't affect my cultural and religious practices. It didn't. So I'm sorry. And that is so weak as an argument.
Having a calendar
and he didn't predict it.
Having a calendar affect your religious practices? The majority of the world is non-Christian, so it's not influencing their religious.
It's influencing their cultural practices, which is what they keep a civil calendar that's 7 days. And God said He would do that. He would force the hand of nations so that His people.
Coronavirus affected our cultural.
Not me. I was not affected. I didn't take the shot. I didn't do nothing. I don't care about it.
Did you have to wear a mask? Did you have to wear a
mask?
No,
no. I'm a rebel. I'm a rebel. I'm a child of God. We don't wear masks. We don't wear a mask. It didn't affect us. Look, you're desperate. You're desperate. Let's go to your argument. Let's go to your arguments because
people would have asked you. Yeah. So back to the argument. Bill Gates made that prediction, right?
Did he say? Okay, let's say this is true.
Okay, you talk and then I'll talk, sir. You go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Bill Gates made the prediction, the true prediction that there would be a universal virus that affected the whole world, and that prediction came true. So you're saying if at the time he had said, I am the king, the supernatural king of the universe, and to express my being sovereign over the entire world, I'm going to infect you with a virus. And then the coronavirus happened. You're saying that we would have to accept that it's proof that Bill Gates is the sovereign king.
First of all, he didn't do that. First of all,
I wasn't finished.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So that's what you're saying. That's stupid.
That's not what I'm saying. Okay, that's the reason why it's stupid, because I'm not saying it.
This analogy.
No, it's not all analogous. First of all, it's not universal. Many people were not affected. Many nations didn't shut down because of this virus. Many people weren't affected. Many people didn't shut down. So your argument is out the window and very desperate. And again, it's not analogous because your prediction was not. He didn't say it would be a sign of his authority. If I were to accept that his prediction was universal as opposed to be something pre-planned. I believe it was pre-planned, but I'm a conspiracy theorist, but that's totally beside the point. He never claimed it would be a sign of his authority. So again, and it doesn't change cultural and social norms. The 7-day cycle does, replacing calendars held for religious and cultural purposes. So very desperate of you, but again, that's why I said don't do the 7-day cycle argument. Once it's established, it's irrefutable, infallible. Let's go to your claims. I want to help you out with your weak claims that you made about why God can't be God.
First of all, I want that. Let's put the argument into a syllogism so I can knock it down more.
Oh my goodness.
Let's examine it. You can't show up to it, sir. You can't step up to the podium without a syllogism, right? You're at the
podium. Do I have to? I don't. Something could be true without a syllogism, right?
Yeah, but you're in a debate. So
okay, I'm gonna try. Okay, if Jesus is God.
Okay, hang on, I'm gonna type it out. Let me go to the live chat here.
Yeah.
I don't understand how God could know anything.
1 second.
Who's talking? Who's talking? You got people helping you out?
Sorry, I was trying to go over to YouTube, so.
No problem, man. I appreciate your presence. So what's the chat saying here?
We're gonna put the first premise.
Sorry, I was trying to go over to YouTube.
Yeah, you should mute your YouTube because we're getting feedback.
No problem, man.
Well, I'm gonna pause it. I'm not gonna mute it.
Okay.
So what's the first premise? We're gonna put
if Jesus is God, he would have to prove his sovereignty over all creation. Okay?
Okay.
It is historically supported that the 7-day cycle is specifically Hebraic.
Wait,
that's premise 2.
The second premise?
Yes, the 7-day cycle is Jesus is the author of the 7-day cycle. If Jesus is the author of the 7-day cycle,
Wait, the first premise is if Jesus is God, he would have to prove his sovereignty over all nations.
exactly. No, over all creation. If you want to put nations, you could. Me is by
Wait, so
extension.
what's the second premise?
The
What
second
inference? This is weird that would be your first premise and second premise, because what inference rule are you going to be using? This is bizarre. But go ahead. What's the second premise?
Okay. First premise: if Jesus is God, he has to show his sovereignty over all creation. Premise 2: if Jesus is the author of the 7-day cycle, and if he is,
what does that mean to be the author, though? If
he originated the 7-day cycle.
But I don't accept that he originated it.
The God of the Hebrews. Okay, remove Jesus, because Jesus, by extension, is the God of the Hebrews. The God of the Hebrews is the author of the 7-day cycle. Okay.
I don't accept that. I don't.
Okay, I'm gonna put it even nicer for you. I'm gonna put it even nicer for you. The God of the Hebrews is the only one who makes claims to the 7-day cycle. Now, argue against that.
Okay, the God of the.
Okay. Pat Lowinger is not here to help you out. But
I don't. Okay, I'm gonna.
I smacked him around.
The God of
Pat
the
Lowinger.
Hebrews,
I know he's watching.
Hebrews is the only one to
making claims to the 7-day cycle.
7-day cycle. I have no idea how from those two premises you're gonna reach
I'm not done. And if he predicted the universal adherence,
premise 3 is what?
If he predicted the universal adherence of the 7-day cycle as a sign or evidence of his authority over all creation.
What?
If he predicted the universal adherence of the 7-day cycle over all nations as evidence of his authority over all creation.
Your third premise is going to have the word if in it?
Yes. In conclusion,
wait a minute. Do you see this written out? Do you see
the 3 conditional statements? There are 3 conditional statements, and each of them are true. 3 conditional statements. The first one is only to establish my foundational basis by which I argue the 2 next points, which are valid, which we can validate and confirm. And the third and the fourth is the conclusion. If both premises true, second premise and third premise, then I validate my first premise, which is what? If Jesus is God, he has to show authority over all nations. And he does that by the fact that he submitted all nations to a 7-day cycle as he predicted. So
that's supposed to be the conclusion of your argument, that he's the one that caused the 7-day cycle over all nations, right? So what's the argument for that?
The argument again, premise number 1, if he is God, he has to show sovereignty over creation. Premise 2, he is the author of the 7-day cycle.
Yeah, but I don't accept the first.
The God of the Hebrews is the only one who makes claims of over. Claims.
He would have to show his sovereignty, and he made a claim about the 7-day cycle. Okay.
He's the only one who says the 7-day cycle is mine. It's mine.
Okay.
Evidence that I'm God. The 7-day cycle is always intrinsically associated to his.
Okay, and then
to the evidence of his act of creation. Okay. Premise 3, he predicted the universal adherence of the 7-day cycle as a sign of his authority.
I thought that was the second premise.
No, that's the first. That's the second. The second premise is he is the author.
Yeah, the author meaning he's the only one.
No. Authorship is authorship. The third one is prediction. Authorship, prediction. All right, because I don't want people to say, oh, it came from Babylon. You know, like the weak scholars like Pat Lowinger and the Dr. Joshua Bowens and the Dr. Kip desperate scholarship. I don't want nobody to argue against that, because it's quite clear that the 7-day cycle.
He authored it doesn't mean he caused it, but okay, so he authored it and he
authored it, and the reason why I say he caused it is premise number 3. Right? Well, premise number 2 in conjunction with premise number 3, he predicted its universal adherence as a sign as his evidence of his authority over all creation. Okay. And by that conclusion, since every nation has been subjugated to a 7-day week as he predicted, then he is sovereign, and by extension, making him God.
Why would it doesn't follow? It doesn't follow.
How? Tell me. You can't just say it doesn't follow. Tell me which part.
The argument is supposed to be showing that because you make a prediction that proves that you're the sovereign.
No. He's author. Premise 2 is authorship. So don't just.
Author, not meaning that he caused it, but just that it was written down.
No. The authorship is in line with the argumentation that he caused it. Authorship?
I don't. So the second premise is saying that he caused it. Yeah. Why would I? What's the
Not.
argument?
I said both of them together in conjunction. I said it multiple times. Authorship. He's the only one making claims to it, and that he predicted.
What do you mean by authorship?
He's the only one making claims to the 7-day cycle.
He's the only one making the claim. Therefore,
Huh?
what?
I'm sorry.
He's claiming it, and he's the only.
He's the only one who ever says hey, the 7-day cycle is mine. He's the only one who does that throughout history.
Okay, that's fine. So what?
Okay, and then he says, hey, you know what? I predicted that everybody's going to keep a 7-day cycle to show that I'm the creator. So by those two combined, I could say he's the cause of it. And if you disagree, there's only one alternative. It's human.
Look, that doesn't.
It's either God or it's either.
Is it supposed to be a deductive argument?
It's deductive and inductive, if you would like.
What?
This is the point.
Deductive.
Listen. It's either God who did it or humans who did it, right? Those are your two options, right? Yes or no? Either God, according to my argument, is either God or human.
Guy named Yeshua said that one day the whole world will adopt the 7-day cycle. I'm granting that for the sake of argument, because I don't want to argue about the empirical stuff. I don't want to argue about scripture.
Okay, but I'm asking the cause. The cause of it.
Follow from that, and he said, "I'm going to cause it." It doesn't follow from that he actually caused it. That's ridiculous. We know that people lie, right?
Okay, I agree. But it actually was fulfilled. So there's not a lie because
people look. Can I speak, please? We know that there's tons of people who claim to be God, right? And they lie.
And they never made a prediction that's universally adhered. So I don't care about the other claims.
Deal
with this one.
The only one that made the universal.
He's the only one who made a claim. You disagree? If you disagree, then if you could prove me wrong, because this is again part of the argument.
We're gonna take turns. So Daz, can you step in and we'll not talk over each other anymore? And
no, go ahead. I'll let you go because you made a claim. I was going to refute your claim, but go ahead.
Sure. Just quickly, I think everybody in the chat's lost. We're wondering how you get from a 7-day cycle to the existence of God. Maybe you could.
Okay, so I'm going to do it again. If the God of the Hebrews is God, he has to show sovereignty over his creation. If I'm the creator, if I created something, I should know everything about it, and I should be able to explain to you everything about it, right? I got control over it, right? That's simple. The God of the Hebrews is the only one who makes exclusive claims to the 7-day cycle. The only one. Making him the author, because he says he's the author. Why? Because he's the only one who makes claims to it. Then he predicted its universal adherence, going against every nation, every cultural and religious practices, as the evidence. Hey, you know what? I'm so powerful. I'm going to go against I'm going to restrict you from doing what you want to do, which is what? Keep your religious and cultural practices. And I'm going to submit you to my 7-day calendar. Why? So that Israel, his children, could keep the Sabbath. So that's the whole purpose of him subjugating all nations. And the fact that he did that shows you that he is the cause of it. Because it goes against every human tradition. There's no human on this earth, no nation who wanted to keep a 7-day cycle. It goes against their religious and cultural practices. So that's what you need to address. So first of all, it's exclusive. You have not addressed, again, give me one example of somebody who's able to do that. Because God says in Isaiah 42, he's the only one who could do that. So anything about his prophecies you can refute. It's enough for me to go and throw it out the window. So exclusively is being exclusive, universal. He's the author, and he subjugated everybody against their will. That shows me that he's the author, and he is the cause of the 7-day cycle being universal. Go ahead.
Okay, let's Godless, you respond to that. If you could just mute your mic, Delicious.
Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna respond, and then without being overtalked, and then if he wants to respond to whatever I say, and then that's fine. We'll just move on from there because this is like getting silly. But look, we know that there's countless numbers of people that claim that they're gods or that they're the son of gods and that they make predictions about the future, some of them being universal predictions, some of them not. Tons of people have done that throughout history. One guy, let's just grant that one guy happened to get one of the predictions right? That the whole world would adopt a 7-day calendar. And let's grant that that's true, that the whole world uses a 7-day calendar, which I don't know, that the fucking people in the Amazon don't even have a calendar. So the tribes in the Amazon don't even have a fucking calendar. But let's grant that that's true. That doesn't mean that we know that people lie, right? That doesn't mean that he wasn't a liar or that he wasn't delusional. We know that people are delusional, and we know that people lie, and we know that people sometimes make correct predictions about the future. None of that follows that he's actually the God. Why would we actually believe that he's God, right? In 2012, Bill Gates predicted that the universal world would be affected by a deadly virus, right? And everybody was affected by that, whether or not they had the virus. Their day-to-day life was affected with the quarantine and wearing masks and all that shit, and knowing somebody who knew somebody that died from the coronavirus, right? That's being affected. So when Bill Gates had said that, he had said, I'm the sovereign king. I'm the sovereign king over the entire world, and I'm going to cause this virus. If he had said that at the time, what follows from what Mr. Delicious's reasoning is that we would have to believe that Bill Gates is the sovereign king over the universe. It's just silly, right? It's just silly. And look at his syllogism is just a mess. He said the argument is inductive and deductive at the same time. What the fuck? What the fuck does that even mean? He's a stupid, retarded, idiotic moron. So this is just an embarrassment, sir. You call into all these atheist shows, and I agree that they're doing horrible when they try to argue about the empirical stuff. That's just stupid. But you still don't win the debates against these idiot atheists calling into all these atheist shows. You need to give up this argument and stop embarrassing yourself. And look, one more thing I have to say. Just look at his syllogism. He doesn't even know what the fucking premises are. And even if we granted him all the premises, the conclusion doesn't follow from the premise. His syllogism is just a mess. Sir, look, please, if you're going to continue going on to these atheist shows, at least get your fucking argument into a deductive syllogism form. Okay, he can respond, and then I won't say anything no matter what he says about it, and then we can move on to my arguments.
If he responds, and then we'll go to your argument.
Yeah, and then we could go move on, because like I said, it was not in your best interest and try to argue against the 7-day cycle. This is my argument is stupid. It doesn't go nowhere. When they panic, and I'm talking to my Christian who's going to be watching this later. When they panic, it's because it's infallible. Thank you for the ab workout. I burnt at least 1,000 calories. Thank you very much for making me laugh. So first of all, let me address a couple of the points she was making. As far as the Bill Gates, it's not a prophecy. It's not even analogous, because first of all, he didn't say it would be a sign of his authority. Even if I would accept and grant you that, somehow this is universal and not something that was pre-planned or something like that. He never said it was a prediction. He never said it was a prophecy, and he never said it will be a sign of his authority over all nations. And it didn't replace things that was held for religious and cultural purposes as it relates to nations. So nothing you just presented is analogous to my prediction. Predictive, universal, said it will be the evidence of my authority, and she said it doesn't follow. You have to explain to me why it doesn't. Which premise are you suggesting doesn't follow? I said, if he is God, he has to show authority over his creation. That is something that's logically deduced. That's deductive, right? Number two, he's the only one who makes claim to the 7-day cycle. So it shows you that he's the author of it. This belongs to him because nobody else makes claims to it. Then he said he would predict its universal adherence. And all of a sudden, that means he is the God of all creation because he's shown his sovereignty over all creation. No, it doesn't mean he did it. But who else did it? He's the only one who claims to it, and he's the only one who predicted it. So who else did it? It's either him or human influence. But
yeah,
that would go
calendars.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, humans make calendars.
I just said every nation kept a different cycle for the religious and cultural purposes, not the 7-day cycle. Every nation kept a different. No, I'm almost done, because you're saying, well, humans did it. Well, they would be going against their own traditions. Explain to me whoever did that. Whoever in history has ever gone against their own cultural and religious practices.
You're just repeating yourself now.
Okay, so respond to that.
Well, I said I wasn't going to respond.
Okay, so now we can go to your weak arguments, because my 7-day cycle is infallible. Thank you. Now let's go to your weak arguments. And one last thing. The Javanese is part of Indonesia, which is a civil calendar or civic calendar.